Hi everyone! I have a question for you. Have you noticed that world riots and protests are everywhere in big cities lately? And that it's becoming more and more dangerous to live in them? That's because it was never God's will for so many people to live all together in one place. Remember the Tower of Babel? It was disobedience and pride that made them start building that tower. And to avoid sin from rapidly spreading again, God ultimately confused their languages so that they would scatter across the world. But Babel wasn't the first city. Do you know who built the first city? The Bible says it was Cain. Yes, let's hear Cain's story.
Please, kids, don't say anything. I guess you already know what happened, and I really don't want to talk about it. I'm mad about everything. The situation we live in, the consequences of sin, and on top of that, God accepted my brother's offering and not mine. You know what? I'm going far, far away. I'll be a wanderer and will never settle down anywhere. I'm just afraid that somebody will find me and kill me, even though God told me that He placed a mark on me so that no one can harm me. Whatever that is. Goodbye, kids.
Genesis 4:15 says that the Lord set a mark upon Cain, lest any finding him should kill him. The mark that God set on Cain was not a mark of forgiveness, but a temporal protection so that he could see the development of sin and its consequences, but also so that he would see the love of God manifested in God's people. Cain was proof of what could have happened if God had let people live so long. The longer people lived before the flood, the more they hardened their hearts. In the same way, during the end times, there will be a mark of disobedience placed on the forehead and right hand of those who choose to disobey God and worship Him on a different day. The mark of the beast is a demonstration of their disobedience to God. Even though it's the mark of the beast, it's placed by God because of their rejection to His commandments. They will see the honor God gives to His children as He protects them during the end plagues. Cain said he would always be a wanderer and would hide from his brethren and family because he was shameful of having killed Abel. Yet, after a while, he built a city and named it after his son Enoch. He chose to have temporal glory and the riches of this world rather than serving God. You know what? These same characteristics that Cain had are found in big cities. For example, New York's skyscrapers were built as high as possible to boast the pride of the builders. Throughout the ages, and especially during the Middle Ages, a church did the same thing as Cain did when he attacked his brother. They imposed their religion and then went against everyone who didn't believe what they taught. The leaders of that church at that time persecuted and killed those who exposed their lies and were faithful to God. Revelation 18 verse 4 and 5 says that we need to come out of that spiritual Babylon. This means that we have to leave human traditions and rather follow what God says in the Bible. In a literal sense, it's also a call to come out of big cities because they are a hub for all kinds of sins. Yes, cities have more violence, they have more temptations, bad influences are higher, and it's just hard to develop a Christian character while living in them. According to certain statistics, metropolitan areas have 79% more violent crimes than other cities, and 300% more violence than rural areas. God's will for His people is that they build their houses outside the cities and grow their own gardens. That's what God's people in the past did. like Enoch, Abraham, and Elijah. They only went to the cities to spread the gospel and share God's love. You know what, children? The time has come for us to move out to the countryside. But in order for us to do that, we need to prepare ourselves really well. We need to pray about it, learn how to grow our own food, and know what we are going to live from. But in the end, it's just very important that we leave the things of this world behind. We should learn to enjoy God's nature, find joy in the simple things, and let go of all the distractions and excitements this world offers. Once you take that decision by faith, you'll see how the countryside will help you focus more on spiritual things. Let's look at a story of a rich father who took his son to the countryside to show him how sad it was to be poor. After a few days and nights, the son told his father what he had learned. Let's listen to him.
I'm amazed to see how much happier and healthier people are in the country. The air and the water are so much cleaner. People here have so many animals. Their yard is so big and they can safely play anywhere. People have the stars as light and they grow their own food. I mean, how cool is that? The neighbors are their friends and they are so happy because they serve others. Thank you, Dad, for showing me just how poor we really are in the city.
The boy's father was speechless. He realized how limited, selfish, and poor in friendships they really were. He realized that life in the countryside was much better. Have you ever been to the countryside? Tell your classmates what you like the most and what you've learned in the countryside. And if you haven't, I invite you to go camping sometime with your parents or with your church school classmates to enjoy God's nature. See you next week. Goodbye.